And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. And this is the late night special episode of the spaceship. And some of you may be listening live, some of you may be watching this as a rerun. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, and I appreciate all of you, all the support. Okay. So we have some interesting things to talk about and some stuff we're going to be looking into. Let's see. Okay. Got that window up. Y'all could see me a little bit better. Alright, hello everybody. I am glad to be here, and we'll be talking about Tellus, that trial. I have some more information about it. Also be talking about some of the, since we're in August, and this month in August, September, October, I'll be talking about spooky-ish topics because the Halloween season's coming, and the island, an island in Hawaii, I've been researching, because it has some interesting wildlife on it. I learned from a friend about it. So, alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the different topics and put the game up for everybody to see. And I'll talk about the different topics while I play the game, as you all know. And then after the game, I will go and put up the other thing on the screen and look through some articles and stuff with chat. Right. Hello, Amanda. Good to see you. I'm glad that you're able to be here on the spaceship. It's always nice to have you with us. Now I'm going to be getting the game started. Let's see how this all goes. Let's see how this all goes. All right. The game is starting. It's loading. Yeah, so I hope all of you have been having a good week. It's been very busy for me, and also I hope that y'all have a very good weekend as well. And comment below or put in the chat, if y'all are here, what y'all will be up to. I would be interested to know, but you don't have to. I'll be doing some different things with the garden and the computer and stuff like that. Okay, now we are getting into this. The game is started. The game has started, I should say. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of a review. Okay, it's Tellus. I could be pronouncing it wrong. The Kauai Island. No, Kauai Island. Research, chilling. Alright. Okay. Here we go. Now it's going to begin now. Alrighty. So today there are some more statements by Tellus. So I was ranting about Tellus last night to the chat that was here, and basically with Tellus, he is in trouble for deleting Gurman, who was a journalist who was talking about him, and he deleted him, but he said he didn't delete him, and he brought himself to the stand and he started talking, and that was the problem. He started talking and his whole case went downhill because he said somebody else planned it, but the person would have had to have had his exact car with the exact spokes in it, and the sun visor's the same way and all. So it's absolutely completely fake what they were doing. So basically, I think that it was very cringe today, and there's some technical issues earlier, so I wasn't able to get there quite right away. But I was watching it, and they're going over the prosecutor was talking to him again, and then there's the cross, and his attorney was asking him questions. He originally wanted to defend himself. I got the information he wanted to defend himself, but actually he had an attorney, but he wound up pretty much defending himself because of what he was doing. Because he's on the stand just saying his side of the story, but that's not how things go. You have to go and have someone defend you because he who defends himself has a fool for a client. Even Steele defended himself. Steele did not defend himself. Steele had Ashley Merchant defend him when he was in a situation with Judge Glanville. So, and to those watching, I like watching trials and stuff, and that's what I've been focusing on a lot recently, and hanging out with my friends and stuff, and that is what I have been researching quite a bit. So, basically, they're going to do the closing arguments on Monday, and they had a long recess, then they had a lunch, then he said some more words, and then they were off for the day, but it was, kind of the midday that it happened. So it was absolutely intense. It was very cringe. We're all roasting him, and his whole case is screwed, and everybody was saying how disturbing the guy looks, and he does look like, as I said, like somebody from some sort of horror movie or something like that. And we'll see how it goes with the jury, with the trial, and that'll be that. And also, I enjoyed the stream. I always enjoy the streams, but I enjoyed talking about the different ghost stories and things like that we were talking about last night with Gam. He was here. And also, I enjoyed, we were talking about the hockey and stuff like that, because I always kind of mix it up and talk about a variety of different things. And YSL was not there today. They were off for the day, but they will be coming back next week. I was doing some research on Genghis Khan, and the right pronunciation of it is Chenghis Khan, by the way. And he went through a lot of things that didn't go right in his life. He was even enslaved a couple of times, and he had some of his family deleted, but he became, he created the largest empire in history. And it was interesting seeing like the stuff that he had to go through, and what made him strong was the hard times, and that's what made him strong. Because a lot of people, they think it's just about being easy or always succeeding. There's no light without dark. So I think it's important to, studying these risks people took throughout history. It's good to imply that in modern days as well. One of the ships is called the Warlord. Interesting. So, as I said, and he went. There was one time where Genghis or Chenghis was trying to go and make peace and alliance with one of the countries, and they went and deleted all the merchants he sent. So he went and they caught the guy, and they poured molten melted silver down his eyes and his mouth and everything. It was just he really he really was ruthless, and also because the other people were not, were being shaded to him, and that they messed with the wrong one, and they got him. So it's interesting, as I said, seeing the struggles people go through before they achieve their successful goal. Yeah, and I think it'll be pretty quick with the jury. And I was learning some stuff today about some people that were in the area were saying they've read Gurman's writings and that he was a very good journalist. And condolences for their loss because he's not around anymore. And he seemed like a very brilliant man, very smart, and he's good at what he was doing. It's crazy how Tellus went out and did that to him. Because it's like, how would his DNA be in his house? And he also had the straw hat in the picture in his house. It was pretty wild. Like, the straw hat that was used by the person that did the deletion was in his house, and his DNA was on his hands and his fingers. That has to be a really skilled assassin to really frame him like that, and the dude stood out in broad daylight. So that one should be very quick, but we'll wait and see how it goes, because I don't think the jury bought what he was selling, and I think what he did was only irritate the jury. So that, and I will read also more additional information as we go on about that. And okay, they got me. Politics wise, I was reading an article that Kamala wants to try to remain moderate, but people don't believe her. As I said, it's interesting to see how this election stuff is going to go. It's interesting to see how it's going to go. And I liked what we were talking about last night with the swamp werewolf. That one was pretty epic. And there's so many more we'll be researching about. And the Hawaii island. So basically, and I'm just kind of jumping around the different stuff as we go along. So basically, what happened was the island. One of my chat friends on one of the other channels was. All right, so as I was saying, the island I was talking about, it hicced up. There was a hiccup for a second for some reason, but basically, as I was saying, there is a situation where one of my chat friends went to one of the Hawaii islands at some point, and there's a lot of chickens there, wild chickens there. So I thought it was interesting, to talk about during a stream, and that's what I'll be doing. And as I said, I will repeat the different topics in the different streams for the different groups that come through, which it's all good. And yeah, there's all kinds of different wildlife there, and I believe Jurassic Park was filmed there as well. Yeah, and there were some pictures, and she was telling me that she went and took pictures of the stuff, and in some parts of the adventure, the the camera film wasn't in it right. It was one of those old cameras, and it some of the pictures weren't even seen. But she got some of them, and I thought it was, yeah, because I'm glad now we could just, you flip out your phone and just take a picture. And I'm not I am familiar with those older cameras when I was very very little, but as I've been, growing up and as I've gotten older, those cameras became obsolete. Even those cameras you buy from Rite Aid or Walgreens, they don't, like, you just put the film in there and click it. Now we got phones and stuff. So I think it's interesting how technology has evolved over time. And also, and I was thinking about, wild chickens. I didn't think that on an island you would have wild chickens, but they're there. We did one about the Vietnam cave. We did a couple of different ones, and now we're going to be doing this one. Now I'm going to try to repair the ship while I talk to you all. It's been doing pretty good so far, but for a second there, it went downhill for a second, but it's back on. So, all right, I'm gonna go and down here. All right, now it's time to repair. Yeah, so and the island's very cool because it's a jungle island. That would be a good name for a movie, Jungle Island. And as I said, it's very well known for interesting wildlife that's there. That's kind of like out of place that you wouldn't think that would be there. Now, one time I saw some pictures of this island where there's pigs on the island. They're just like chilling on the beach. It's just you wouldn't think to see that. All right. Okay, so we got that done, and we're repairing the ship. Yeah, and I'm glad that my friend Catherine was able to go to that Hawaii island. It's cool adventures to go and see that, and I think it's interesting. It's interesting to learn about the different places in the world and stuff. I think it's very cool. And hello, Stranded. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm glad you're able to come. So, as I said, so Stranded, I was talking about one of the trials I'm watching, and the guy decided to defend himself. And then what happened was he he buried his grave. He dug his hole even deeper, and it just was more obvious that he was guilty. And also, I was talking about how I was learning more about Genghis Khan, and he went through a lot of horrible things in his life, and then it got better for him later, because if you could call it that, because what happened was his family, like, he was enslaved a couple of times, and his family was deleted. Some of his family was deleted, like his mom and stuff. His family was attacked by. There's another clan that came in and attacked him, and then he had to be out in the wilderness with with his little brothers and his older stepbrother, and they just survived off everything. And these people, the Mongols, they survived off of just literally anything that they found on the ground, or their horses and stuff. It was pretty intense conditions, and they're able to conquer. It was interesting to see what people do with the proper resilience. And because people through time, they just keep overcoming things and having victory. And also, I was talking about an island in Hawaii that we'll be talking about. That there's wild chickens on the island, and one of my friends from another stream I'm on went many years ago and visited the island and saw those things there, and many other critters. And also, I was rehashing from yesterday. We were talking about some of the cryptids, some of the ghost stories, because although it's August, as we get closer to Halloween, I'll be talking about spooky things again. And yesterday I was reading some ghost stories, and I was talking about some paranormal stuff, and just rehashing yesterday. And there's this triangle in Massachusetts that has a giant. It's a triangle area, and they have Bigfoot sightings. They have UFO sightings. They have orb sightings. They have all the alien sightings over there. It's pretty intense over there. And Stranded, I want to say I hope that you're having a nice day, and I hope that you have a good weekend, and hope that you're doing good. Now we're pumping out. Okay. So there we go. So basically, I'm gonna play the game for a little bit, then we'll go into the different topics. And yesterday, Gam called in briefly, but there was sometimes there was some technical difficulties, as you all know, and it kind of didn't go the way I would have wanted it to have gone, and it kind of cut off. But we talked for a couple of minutes, but we'll have him on in the future. And so I was telling him that you've been on there and stuff, and it's gone smoothly. And I don't know. I think there's some weather coming in, and it may in the distance it caused it to happen. But as I said, it's you know I'm here, and we're cruising along. And also another thing is that, but yesterday we still had a good stream, and it didn't completely go out or anything, and it just was a little bit turbulence to it, but it was all right. And right now we're sailing along, and we have facts right here from Stranded. And I saw my friend that went to the island, as I said, is Catherine. There's a bunch of Cathys I know, but this one is specifically called Miss Catherine. That's what the username is. So somebody from another channel I know that went to Hawaii. That said, I've heard about Hawaii and stories of going to different islands and stuff, but the chicken thing, that was something. It's like a beach, and there's a bunch of chickens just hanging out. Like it's something that you probably would think is out of place, but then again, they have all kinds of critters everywhere. Stranded said a person who defends himself as a fool for an attorney. Right. And also a client as well. Stranded said, yes, doing good. Long week at work, and I'll be so happy when I get this project done. How are you doing? Stranded, I am doing very good. I had a fun time with my friends in the chat today, and I was talking to some of them about different things, and one of them went out and I was talking to one of them about their trip to Spain, and my dad in England my dad's family over there went to Spain sometimes, and Spain's interesting. And I learned as I was saying before, some history topics about Cortez and about Genghis Khan, more about them. and I had a good day with the cats. I see the cats around 7 o'clock to like around 8 or around 8 o'clock. So the cats wrestling, doing their thing, and so yeah, I'm doing very good. And I'm thinking about getting a fall garden started. And by the time the cold fronts come in, I'll harvest it. And this year, as I said, went really well. I mainly focus on sunflowers, and I do have a pumpkin plant growing. Like I like to grow the pumpkin plants, and also I'm gonna grow some stuff in a pot, and it doesn't really matter when I grow it. In my what I do, in my opinion, and because whenever it gets cooler, I'll just bring it inside when it gets too cold for it. But someone's put some stuff in some pots and grow some other pepper plants and things like that. So yeah, I got a lot. I have some ambitious things going on. But yeah, and the weather, it's cool. It's cooler today. How is the weather by you, Stranded? The weather today was cool. It was hot, but it was cooler. I have to dock. Okay, okay. I have to dock because I feel the game is causing this to go a little bit glitchy. It glitched for a second, but y'all can see me now. Okay, so I'm going to get Stranded. I'm going to answer your question in a moment. So basically, just the game is being goofy. Not anything with my connection or anything. It's the game. There's a lot of commotion, a lot of stuff going on in the game, and it's causing it to be a little bit lagging the stream, in my opinion. So I'm not going to sail too much right now. So basically, Stranded, I'm going to put in some turnips. I might do some radishes and broccoli. We'll see how that goes. If it, see how that goes. Because I've done the turnips and the other ones before. The turnips and the radishes before during this time of the year. Because it's kind of warm down here, so it stays a little bit warm longer. Now, but the winters do pretty good. Oh, he's not even here, Sam. But anyway, so basically, with those things, I do pretty good with the turnips and stuff. And there's an open window where I will have the time to grow it. Also, I'm going to start eating some of the food that I grew some time ago. I had saved. I'm going to start eating it, and more of it. I've already eaten a lot of it. I'm going to eat some more of it, and also, I have quite a bit of things in storage, and I still have the sunflower heads in storage as well, and I have some seeds that were dried out, and one thing that happened was one of the Caribbean flower, it was alive, but it was having some problems. It looked kind of like it was kind of yellow, and I just thought it was too hot, and so I put it under some other jungle plants, and it's doing better. It's turning green again. It's turning more green again, and it's doing great now. So it needed this a little bit too intense in the sun. Sarah, yay, Sarah. I'm glad to see you, Sarah. And also Stranded too, and everybody else here, right? No, Stranded. I have not. We have pickled other things, but I've not pickled the radishes yet. But I'll do that. I'll try that out, pickling it. I'll do that. Stranded said broccoli is good. I like little radishes in salad. Don't like turnips. You don't like turnips. Now, understood. Understood. I do think turnips are a very good source of food, in my opinion, because you could have quite a bit of. And also, Sarah says shout out to Amanda. She's listening. She was here earlier, and also, yeah, because Sarah says pokes Amanda. So, and Sarah, I hope that you're doing good. and I got your email earlier, and I read it, and we'll talk more about the topics that I was talking to Gam about last night. Well, I'll talk to y'all about it while y'all are here, all right? And also, I'm actually about to get off the game, and I'll get to the other topics. All right. We'll go to these other things. All right, everybody, we are about to get into these other topics. The game, as I said, a lot of commotions going on in the game, and it was just, I didn't want to drag the stream down. So we're going to just go right into the topics. There could be turbulence in the stream, everybody. So just keep that in mind. Without further ado, we'll go right into it. Awesome, awesome, Sarah. And also, Stranded. What I meant to ask you before my rant, I wanted, how is your plants doing, Stranded? I'd like to know. Show you all something here. We're gonna go to. We got some Sarah. I got a Japanese cryptid ghost. We're gonna talk about, and you'll help me with the pronunciations. And I saved it for you when you were here. Also, we'll talk about hockey again, Sarah, and some of the stories I talked about last night for y'all that are here. Yeah. And right now, I'm going to show. We're going to talk about broccoli. There's a rap song called "Broccoli" from 2016, and when my friends and I were chilling in the car, my hip hop friends, my friends in the hood, shout out to them. We were listening to it, and like back then, it was kind of it was pretty like we would call rhythmic. It was nice, but we all kind of thought it was cringe. But now it's like nostalgic, and it's really cool. But I still thought it was cool back then. But now it's even more. It was very cringe, but now I see it as nostalgic, and it's like rhythmic. It has like a rhythm to it. Okay, but broccoli means something else in the hood world. But we're talking about the normie broccoli. All right, so broccoli takes to grow. It'll take 50 to 60 days. And I'll test that out to see how they grow in the fall. All right. And Stranded says, my friends told me about an Amish farm market near them. I went there last weekend and had watermelon jam. It's so yummy. Plus, been munching on some Amish cheese this week. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Broccoli is very good, and also I will talk about. Let's see, the takes turnips. 40 to 55 days. Congratulations, Stranded. Congratulations. Still getting tomatoes, harvested some chili peppers, and hung them to dry, and still have a lot of green ones on the plant. Well, Stranded, I am delighted. I am so happy for you. And Stranded, what I want you to keep in mind is I want when it becomes cold, when the cold fronts come in, I would suggest you to bring them inside while the freeze happens, or a snow or anything. You get, or bring them inside, and also like down here gets very cold, and like down here it wipes out any of the plants. And Sharon said the green beans are done. A few pods still in the plant that I'm going to let dry for seed next year. Well, Stranded, I am so delighted and happy for you that you got that. Shout out to you. All right. Now, French radishes. Oh, something. Oh, you know what else I'm gonna do when it gets cooler? I'm also gonna grow some of the. I can't believe the name skipped my mind, but it's the Japanese radishes. Also, which I had some already, and they taste very good. Shout out to Sarah for the suggestion. Those tasted very good. Thank you, Daikon. Thank you. Yeah, the Daikon. Stranded says, I plan to cut the mint down and jar them for winter. That's very good. Very good. My mint had its life cycle, and they're going to grow back next year. But I enjoyed them in tea. All right. Oh, it says to mid-July, early August. So yeah, they're still, in my opinion. This is a good time to grow some of them in like a shady area. I have a shady part of the yard. I'll put them. All right. So now let's get into. Okay, Sarah. Thank you. Also, I'll grow the wasabi too. Fresh green beans I can mint. Facts. Yeah. Stranded said, I like Japanese radishes. It's not as strong as pepper flavor as the other radish. Oh, I agree. I agree. And I enjoyed it with the sandwich. I had some with the sandwich. Very good. It is 78 degrees where I am. Yeah, it's getting a little bit cooler. All right, so also I'm going to get back into my garden rant in a moment, and you all can talk about it and whatever you want in chat. It's okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a Japanese ghost, urban legend. Also, Sarah, if I pronounce something wrong, feel free to correct me. All right. All right, so this one we'll be talking about is Hanaku-san, or Tori no Hanaka. No, Hanaku-san. It is a Japanese urban legend about the spirit of a young girl named Hanaku, who haunts school toilets. Like many urban legends, the details of the origins of the legend vary depending on the account. Different versions of the story include that Hanaku-san is a ghost of a World War II era girl who was deleted while playing hide and seek during an air raid, that she was deleted or by a parent or stranger, or deleted herself in a school toilet during bullying. Interesting. Kauai. Okay. Thanks. Okay. 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 And I'm going to try to say it again and be patient with me. I'm going to try it again. Okay. Legends about Han Ko. Okay. San have achieved some popularity in Japanese schools where children may challenge classmates to try to summon Hanaku San. The character has been depicted in a variety of media, including films, manga, anime, and video games, and not just the notorious Hanako San, but some as Hanako, and then this other word, kun, the male version. Now, good to see you, Matt. So, Sarah, what does it mean, the kun and san? Those are two different genders. Okay, Sarah, thank you. Yeah, Matt. Okay, thanks. Kon, so Hanako kun san. Chan, young girls. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, Sarah. Okay, understood. According to legend, Hana, let's see, Hanako Shan is the spirit of a young girl who haunts the school toilets and can be described as a yokai or a yori. The details of her physical appearance vary across different sources, but she is commonly described as having a bobbed haircut and is wearing a red skirt or dress. Details of Hanako-chan origins also vary depending on the account. In some versions, this was a child who was deleted by a stranger or an abusive parent, or also in the version she was deleted herself or was somebody who was during World War II who was deleted during an air raid. I know. Before Sarah, I know because I was seeing that this was going to be a ghost of some kind in Japan, but as I'm reading this, it's quite interesting. I would have not have thought of this myself. Yes, Matt. I wonder that too. If this is where she got that from as well. Come on, page. Okay. So it's kind of like the Bloody Mary thing. And then they do this thing while they have some like school kids that will try to summon this thing. And then they will try to reply, and then there's a reply, and the ghost will say, "Yes, I am." Individual may also witness the appearance of a bloody or ghostly hand, or the ghost herself may pull the individual into the toilet, which may lead to hell. Or individual may be eaten by a three-headed lizard who claims that the individual was invading Hanako's privacy. Or the Candyman, right. Right. When I was at the summer camp during the sleepover, a lot of the people try to do that. I sat out of that one. But yeah, a lot of them try to do that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not, into that. History. Author and folklorist Matthew Mayer has described the legend of Hanako Shan. Let's see. One thing. As dating back to 1950s. Michael Dylan Foster, author of the book of the Yokai, Mysterious Creatures of Japanese Folklore, has stated that Hanakon-shan is well known because it is essentially an urban legend associated with the schools all over Japan since the 1990s. It has also been used in films, became part of the culture, not orally transmitted in local folklore. In 2014, the article published in NPR described the ghost as having become a fixture of Japanese urban folklore over the last 70 years. Very interesting. Let's see. Hanakun Shan. Okay. Stranded said, "Have you done more research about the astronauts having to spend the extended stays in the ISS?" Oh yeah, I've done research about that, and we could talk about it on the stream as well. And also, so yeah, that is the haunted ghost, and it's also depicted in some anime and some video games and some movies, by the way. And then we have Oh, yes. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about another little part of a scary thing from Japan, about a ghost in Japan. GG Kitaro series is of the yokai. Okay, thank you. Also, I'm going to talk about this briefly, and then we're going to get into the other topic about. We'll talk about the ISS with Stranded, and we will get into the other parts of the other parts about the island in Hawaii and etc. And I'll talk about the things as we go. All right. So Sarah will help me with the pronunciation with things, and she is very good with that. Okay. Japan. In addition to the On Ibi and Hito Dama, there are other examples of atmospheric ghost lights and legends such as the Kitsun Ebi and the Shir and Iui. And Stranded said, I wonder if this inspired the ring instead of the girl coming out of a well, she came out of a toilet. Yeah, very well, maybe. Possibly so, yes. And this other thing called the. Oh, we'll have to look into that. We'll have to look into that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it came out in 2002. The Osabi and the Nob Iyaka Miyazaki prefecture area, the atmospheric ghost lights were described in the first-hand accounts until the middle of the Meiji period. Two balls of fire would appear side by side on rainy nights at a pond known as the Misuma Pond. Misumaki. It was said that a woman lent an osa, a guide of yarn on a loom, to another woman. When she returned to retrieve it, the two argued and fell into a pond. Their dispute became an atmosphere ghost fire, still said to be burning. Legend has it that the spaceship toilets are still haunted. Just joking. That it misfortunate beliefs anyone who sees the fire. Obra, related in legends, and Omi Island in Imi Prefecture. It is said to be a spiritual fire of a deceased person in the Mayukabu village. Ochi district in the same prefecture, now Imbari. They are known as Obrabi. A legend exists of atmospheric ghosts fire appearing above the sea or at graves. These are sometimes the same type of fire. My bad. Husband says based on the Japanese story, South Korea just ran with it, I guess. Now, okay, okay. Kane no Kami no Hai, Fire of the Metal God. Related in legends, Niwa Island, Emi Prefecture, and the folklore publication Sogo Nippon Min Zuku Goi. This is a fire appearing at night on New Year's Eve behind the patron Shinto god's shrine on Niwa Island. It is accompanied by sounds similar to human screaming and is interpreted by local residents as a sign of the goddess of luck has appeared. I remember the video caskets too. I'm really dark. Video cassettes. When I was a kid growing up, I used VHS tapes. I remember you used to have to rewind stuff. I remember you'd have to rewind everything, and you had the film and the tape together. I remember that. Kinka. This fire appeared in the fantasy collection of Shansu Kidane. It is said to appear at Hichiman, Josh Ikaido, and Komatsu as a fuse like atmospheric ghost light. Sarah, I remember Blockbuster too. I remember it was 2006. I remember before that, before the hurricane, I went there. But I was very very little, but I remember Blockbuster. I remember I rented King Kong and Godzilla. I remember I used to rent movies there, and I get some snacks and some food. It was very I loved it. Very nice. They have a Blockbuster open now in Oregon. Also, they have a Blockbuster like they're supposed to be streaming online. I don't. I'll look up all the updates about that after I read this. But yeah, shout out to Blockbuster. Alien Classics, yes. That's funny, Sarah. I mean, that's funny, Stranded. Come Obi. In a legend in Tenko Village, Shiki District, Nara Prefecture. Now, Sakurai. Hundreds of spiders became a ball of fire in the air, and one would be deleted upon contact with it. Similarly, Tamashi Mayashima, Kuru Ashiki, Okayama Prefecture, the Kumo no Hai, is said to be the work of spiders, as red ball of fire appears above the forest near the Iniri shrine of the island. It is said to dance around the above mountains and forests, then disappear. In Benshu, now Hyogo Prefecture, according to Nishiari Kaidan Jiki, in the section Seiyo Shunso Anzikiyu. I got a little bit distracted for a second. I'm still here. Kai Wu Mishi Mono. An atmospheric ghost light would appear in a village of Seiyo District, Banshee, although perhaps it is a spider fire, its details have not been made clear. Alright, Stranded said, check the Blockbuster in Oregon. I think it's closed now. I remember hearing a couple years ago about the last Blockbuster. I think it's still open, but we're about to check it. Thank you, Sarah. I didn't know that. A couple of more, and then we'll move on to the next stuff. Okay. Gunnarubi. In legends from the area of Hanajoji, Senjo Nagata Prefecture, Isano no Gungaru. After winning a gambling was deleted, his deletion became an atmospheric ghost light at a nearby family farm. Ganabri is a sign of impending rain, and peasants who see it hurry to retrieve their rice drying racks. Josanibi. It might be Josanibi. And Yom Ihon Seo Shinguri from the Edo period at Min Akuchi Omi, now Koka Shiga Prefecture, there was a person who made a livelihood out of selling Josin candy made from the sap of the Rahamani I glutinosa, boiled into paste, who was deleted by a robber. It is said that the vendor became an atmospheric ghost fire floating at rainy nights. Scared. Alright. And we have more of these that will... The other ones we'll do another time. So that is some spooky ghost stuff to get ready for the Halloween season that's coming up. Alright. Now, I got dyslexic for a second. It's ISS, not SSI. Yeah, shout out to the Space Cats. Okay, here we go. So... going to do something. Dog stars are better. I'm serious. Hilarious. Hilarious. Okay, I'm going to pull up something here. Bear with me a moment. Okay. Okay, so I've been recently been talking about the crisis where those astronauts got stuck in space. The two recent ones, I made some videos about it. And Stranded brought to my attention recently in one of the things that I made that the NASA astronaut, there's a history of astronauts that have been stuck in space before. So thank you, Matt. Thank you for the fun facts. Fun fact: it's called the dog days of summer because the dog Sirius is visible in the sky in summer. All right, record-breaking astronaut Frank Rubio finally returns to Earth after accidentally spending 371 days in space. NASA astronaut Frank Rubio has finally returned from 371-day stay in the International Space Station, a record for an American after being trapped when his ride home was damaged. So this has happened before, and he came back in 2023. The leak that stalled Rubio's Soyuz was the first of three coolant problems for Russian ISS hardware in the last year. On September 27, astronaut Frank Rubio, 48, broke the record for the longest continuous space flight by American with his 371 mission. When he returned to Earth, his first meal back was salad. So, and he had other people with him. So basically, it's happened before. So it happened to those astronauts in space right now. It's happened before. So it's pretty interesting that this keeps happening. I wonder, these people got to get with the program and get it together with their equipment and have the people not stuck in space. And NASA is insisting that the astronauts are not stuck in space. They're insisting that. And there's going to be another one. Read this article. This is just recent. NASA astronauts. We may have some turbulence. Everybody, buckle your seatbelts. Okay. All right. NASA to announce whether stranded astronauts can return on Starliner. Fate of Starliner crew to be revealed early Saturday as rival SpaceX prepares launch private spacewalk mission. NASA is expected to announce as early as Saturday whether the U.S. astronauts stuck in International Space Station ISS come home with the glitchy Boeing Starliner spacecraft that took them there or will need to wait for a space vehicle, which would be another embarrassment for the embattled rival plane maker. Then SpaceX plans next week to launch one of its riskiest missions yet to attempt the first ever private sector spacewalk with innovative slim spacesuits and a cabin with no airlock. NASA's decision on whether to return Starliner to Earth with astronauts aboard is expected to no earlier than Saturday, August 24, at the conclusion of an agency-level review, the space agency said in a statement. that really was hilarious. If they are not stuck, then what are they? Exactly. They're in suspense. You know, what is it? Starliner launched its first two astronauts into space in June as a crucial test before it can receive NASA approval for routine flights. But what was supposed to be 8-day mission docked in the ISS had been drawn out by months after the capsule spraying leaks and some of its thrusters failed. The agency administrator, Bill Nelson, will attend the agency level review. In a statement, the Boeing, for months, has sought to quell fears about the Starliner issues with new test data the company has claimed validates the spacecraft's safety for astronauts. NASA is weighing in and the data against the low appetite for risk mission, one of four Starliner flights since 2019. The agency has prepared a backup plan to make two sets available in an upcoming SpaceX Crew Dragon mission that the Starliner crew, the veteran NASA astronaut Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, could use. If that option is chosen, Wilmore and Williams would not come home until the mission's conclusion in February 2025. The Starliner would be brought back to Earth empty in the meantime. Boeing has struggled to develop a Starliner and compete with SpaceX similar but more experienced Crew Dragon. Boeing has taken 1.6 billion in losses on the Starliner program. Securities filings show that the U.S. jet company has been relying in recent years after crashes involving its 737 MAX model and on a newer version of the plane. Terrifying incident on January when a door panel blew out mid-flight, which is still being investigated. Boeing is under pressure from upstart SpaceX and company created by the tech entrepreneur Elon Musk, who also found Tesla, the terrestrial electrical vehicle maker, and now owns the social media platform X, formerly Twitter. Jared Isaacman, billionaire entrepreneur, will join a retired military fighter pilot and two SpaceX employees to launch the mission that will include spacewalk on Tuesday aboard the modified crew craft. The plan is from to embark 20-minute spacewalk through 434 miles into space 2 days later until now walking into the empty expanse of space has only been attempted by the government astronauts on ISS, which is orbit 250 miles above Earth. SpaceX's 5-day mission, dubbed Porolus Dawn, will swing in an oval-shaped orbit, passing as close to Earth as 118 miles and as far as 870 miles, the farthest any human will have ventured since the end of U.S. Apollo moon program in 1972. The crew will wear slimline spacesuits in a craft modified so it can open its hatch door in the vacuum of space, an unusual process that removes the need for an airlock. They're pushing the envelope in multiple ways. The retired NASA astronaut Garrett Reisman said in an interview with Reuters they're also going to a much higher altitude with more severe radiation environment than we've been since Apollo. Eisenbing bankrolled the mission with an estimation of 100 million. Journeying Isaacman will be the mission pilot Scott Potet to return U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel SpaceX senior engineers Sarah Gills and Anna Menon. I'll show them. I saw them in 2020 when they went to space that time. And it was the day that the George Floyd riots happened. They went to space. All right, so that is the new spacesuits. Much thinner. Okay, Matt, thank you for coming. Good night. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, also that one, yeah, that's them. I remember when they left and that evening, that's when it all went downhill. See, that's the new suits they have. Okay, you got Ocean Gate vibes. I see. I understand. I understand. It makes sense. Talk about this island that my friend visited. Thanks for the patience, everybody. Thank you. All right. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Everybody's me yawning now. Okay. So we have. I'll look it up. You're welcome, Sarah. Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is like the ones from that movie. Yes. It's like the Star Trek one. There you go. That's true. All right. All right. This is Kauai. All right. So this is an island I'm talking about here. So Sarah says had the original Trek TV show vibes, similar to also Galaxy Quest, and also it reminds me of Voyage and Bottom of the Sea. That's one I like also. Oh, Sarah, I want to let you know that I think I told you this before, but I saw Jurassic Park, the movie. I told you that before, but I want to let you since we're like here like live in person, and I enjoyed it, and it reminds me of a lot of the dinosaurs we were researching. All right, so this is an island that one of my friends on the other stream on YouTube was telling me about. It was new. It was the 4th of July, and we were all like chilling in the chat in another channel, and we were we were talking about chickens and different things like over the course of a couple hours, and then she was saying when a couple of years ago, many years ago, she went to this island in Kauai, it's called, and because she was saying that there's these wild chickens there, and it just that kind of blows my mind that there's gonna be these chickens of all things just chilling on the island. And yeah, it's and she was saying it was a very beautiful island, and we're just gonna look at some pictures of it with our technology we have. We could see this kind of stuff, and of course, this is a nice place to visit one day, of course. But basically, while we have this futuristic technology we are looking at it right now. Oh, I love Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters. That movie's awesome. Excuse me, mini dinosaurs. Yes. Because I was talking to her, and she was just like, her neighbor had some chickens. She has chickens, and she'll see them, and she saw them on the island. I'm like, what? You saw them on the island? Yeah, I know, right? Chicken. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. And also, basically, I like the waterfall and the circular, the way it looks, kind of like oval shape with the rainbow. That's beautiful. That really is beautiful. Oh yeah, Sarah. Exactly. I agree. Chickens. Now we're look at the chickens. They have feral chickens, so they have these wild chickens that are just chilling everywhere. See, look, a chicken on the beach. Isn't that wild, chat? Wow. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yes. So as I said, you think you'd see that on a farm, but not true. A raptor. Yeah. Yeah. And also, it's doing its thing on the beach, and it's like you think it'd be out of place because you would think that there would be on a farm in Georgia somewhere, but nah, they like going on the beach, and those are a bunch of them. And yeah, because she was telling me that she just sees them, she saw them everywhere. Hola, Senor DJ. Welcome to the chat where we're talking about chickens again. The last time you were here, I was talking about chickens, and when you come back here, we talk about chickens. I think I got a chicken obsession, but isn't that a great thing? Well, yeah. I'll look it up, Sarah, to be sure about that. Okay, I'll look it up to be certain because it looks like in this picture it's eating something, and if they're on the beach, there has to be something they're eating. But what is it? What is it exactly? Is it little critters? I mean, I think a hermit crab would try to bite it, would try to snap it. Awesome, DJ. That's great. Yeah, shout out to your chickens. Well, look at this chat. Yeah, shout out to your husband, Sarah. Yeah, so this is a lady getting out of her car. It's like a bunch of cats. They're all just hanging out. There's a bunch of feral chickens. Around here, up the street, there's some chickens around that like to hang out. There's some feral chickens. That's a lady feeding them. Yeah, my friend was telling me. So, DJ, to give some context, I have a friend in one of the other chat rooms, one of the other channels I watch, and it was the 4th of July, and we were talking about how. Oh, she was saying I was talking about chickens because I have an obsession with chickens, and then we were talking about it, and now she was saying her neighbor has chickens and she sees them, and she saw the chickens on the Hawaii island, in Kauai, and it was like I was like, wow, they're on an island and they're feral chickens, and then I said, I got to research this and talk about it on my stream, and she was like, cool, that sounds great, and yeah, so and she was saying, as I said before, the camera. She was taking some pictures, and some of the camera shouldn't have right, and some of the pictures were not seen because it's like with these older cameras, they have these things. If you don't have it a certain way, it won't take a picture. But she got a lot of pictures, she said, but she didn't get the all of them because she didn't really realize it was like that. It was something with the film wasn't right, and yeah. So shout out to Catherine, Miss Catherine, and also, but yeah. So this is these wild chickens, and this is certainly a place that I would like to go see one day. And I will look at these chickens on the beach. Okay, Stranded said chickens will eat sand and small rocks to help digest their food. Well, there you go. Thank you. As I'm like, there's no worms on a beach, as far as I know. I remember the beach very well. I mean, they have some little critters, but I mean, some of them are gonna try to bite its beak off with the little hermit crabs and stuff. All right, chickens will eat sand and small rocks to help digest their food. Well, thank you. One next to SpongeBob's house. Uh oh. Yeah, it's a couple of them hanging out. True, Stranded. True. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And this is the reason why they have wild chickens on Hawaii in this island in Kauai. Then in 1982, Hurricane Iwa hit the island chain, battering Kauai most severely. The winds destroyed most of the island's coops and blew countless chickens out of the farms, scattering them from the coast to coast, taking free range to the next level. The chickens began to multiply all over the island. So this hurricane came, like, I can understand, like with Katrina, and then what happened was some of their coops got blown out, and then they started migrating on the island and just reproducing, and then you got feral chickens. So that's really interesting. So, because as I said, that's really cool. Chickens are believed to have inhabited the Hawaiian island of Kauai since the first human migration around 1200 AD. But numbers peaked since a tropical storm Inaki Iwa in the 80s and 90s that destroyed almost all the chicken coops on the island, released large numbers of domestic chickens into the wild. Yeah, so shout out to. I'm glad that she mentioned it and we're researching it now. I want to go in more detail about the island. Stranded said, I bet those chickens taste really good since they haven't been exposed to commercial grain and hormones. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Kauai is one of the main Hawaiian islands. It has an area of 562.3 square miles, making it the fourth largest island and the 21st largest island in the United States. Kauai lies 73 miles northwest of Oahu, across the Kauai's channel. The island's 2022 population was 73,298. Styling itself the Garden Isle, Kauai is the site of the Waimea Canyon State Park and Na Pali Coast State Park. It forms the bulk of Kauai County, which also includes the small nearby islands of Kalula, Lehua, and Nahayu. And this is a 2003 satellite photo. Take myself out for a second. Alright, so that's the island. Alright. And going back here. Fixing my window a little bit. And I'll get right back into it. Etymology and language. Hawaiian narrative derives from its name's origin from the legend of Hauaialua, the Polynesian navigator credited with discovering the Hawaiian Islands. The story relates that he named the island after a favorite son. A possible transition of Kauai is place around the neck. Describing how a father would carry his child, another possible translation is food season. Kauai was also known for its distinct dialect of the Hawaiian language, which still survives on Nahayu, while the dominant dialect is based off of the Hawaii island, which has no sound. The Kauai dialect had this sound. This happened because the Kauai dialect had retained the old Polynesian sound replaced in the standard Hawaii dialect. By this difference applies to all words with these sounds, so Kauaian, named the Kauai, was pronounced Tahuai, and Kappas was pronounced Tapas. It's interesting to have the word Kappa because that's a Japanese scripted. It's a community. Interesting. Polynesian inhabitants settled on the island about 600 to 800 CE. Oh, I didn't know that, Sarah. Thank you for letting us know. They know that is interesting that they're on the island. Very interesting. Polynesian inhabitants settled on the island about 600 to 800 CE as indicated by radiocarbon dating of archaeological sites. They are believed to have come from the Marquesas Islands. A second wave arrived by sea canoe from the Tahiti around 800 to 1000 CE. Many Hawaiian traditions and belief structures derive from the culture that arrived with these Tahitians. Oh yeah, Stranded. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, RFK has suspended his run, not dropped out, and endorsing DJT. Yeah, yeah. So what happened was there's this conspiracy that there's these thoughts that RFK was going to drop out and join in DJT. But what happened was she's saying that he has suspended his campaign, is now endorsing him. And there's also sayings that he would be in the cabinet of DJT if he won. Yeah, so that's also another thing that was going on. We'll look into that too. During the reign of King Kamehameha, Kauai and Nahayu joined his kingdom of Hawaii. The last to do so, the ruler Kamu Ali, resulted in Kamehameha for years. Kamehameha twice prepared a huge armada of ships, canoes, to take the island by force, and twice failed, once because of a storm and once because of an epidemic. But the face of the threat of any further invasion, they decided to join the kingdom without bloodshed and became the Kamahayas. Vassal in the 1810, he succeeded the island in the kingdom of Hawaii upon his deletion 1824. Schaeffer Affair. The Schaeffer Affair was a controversial diplomatic incident causing George Anton Schaeffer, a German physician who attempted to seize the Kingdom of Hawaii for the Russian Empire. After 2 years, his scheme failed and returned to Germany. And the Hawaii was found right before, it was during the 4th of July. It was found, and that's why Hawaii has the flag of the Union Jack in it, because it was part of our thing, our country. And I'll look up the date to make sure I have this correct. I placed the Hawaiian Kingdom under British. I got that wrong. Scratch that. Under the British protection during the. No, wait. Hawaii was never colonized by the British, but the Kingdom of Hawaii was reorganized as a sovereign nation. The British did occupy Hawaii briefly in 1843, but the monarchy. Okay, let's see. There's something. All right, so Hawaii on July 4, 1894. So long after the American Revolution, marked the creation of the Republic of Hawaii through its constitution. No, I didn't see that, DJ. The reason why they had the flag, the American flag, I mean, they had the flag of the British Empire, is to pay homage to British America before we were part of England, before we became independent, and also they were part of Britain's protection at one time. And we'll get into the RFK part also. Chat, I'll look into it. Plantations. From 1830s until the mid 20th century, sugarcane plantations were Kauai's most important industry. In 1835, the first sugarcane plantation was founded on Kauai. For the next century, the industrial industry dominated Hawaii's economy. Kauai's last sugarcane plantation, the 18-year-old Gay and Robinson plantation, stopped planting sugar in 2008. Stranded said, I'm guessing in the end, any votes he gets will transfer to GJT. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. In 1835, the old Kaluoa town opened a sugar mill. From 1906 to 1934. The office of the county clerk was held in Mea. Kanakiu had been active in attempts to restore the Queen Lukuianai in the throne after the U.S. takeover of Hawaii in 1893. And now I'm going to and it also was used for sugar farming. And now I want to touch on about the hurricane. Hurricane Iniki, Hawaiian meaning strong piercing wind, was a hurricane that struck the island September 11, 1992. It was the most powerful hurricane to strike Hawaii in recorded history, and the only hurricane to directly affect the state during 1992 Pacific hurricane season, forming a September 5, 1992 during the strong 1990-1995 El Nino Pacific hurricane season. Inky was one of the 11 Central Pacific tropical cyclones during the season. It attained tropical storm status on September 8 and testified into a hurricane the next day. After abruptly turning north, Iniki struck Kauai at peak intensity. It had winds to 145 and reached Category 4. And that is one of the hurricanes that brought the chicken coops that freed the chicken coops, that brought them to Hawaii. In 2014, Mark Zuckerberg purchased 700 acres of the land on Hawaiian island, Kauai. In January 27, Zuckerberg filed 8 quiet title patrician lawsuits against hundreds of native Hawaiians to claim small tracts of land that they own within his acreage. Zuckerberg responded to criticism on Facebook posts, stating that the lawsuits were a good faith effort to pay the partial owners for the land of their fair share. When he learned that Hawaiian land ownership law differs from that of the 49 states, he dropped the lawsuit, and Zuckerberg stated he regretted not taking the time to understand the process and its history before moving ahead. Yeah, free the chickens. Stranded needs some chickens that don't have chemicals in it, that don't have all the additives to it. Yeah, she needs some fresh chickens from the tropical wonderland. The enchanting tropical mysterious jungles. The 5 million-year-old island, the oldest of the main islands, Nahayu is older, was formed volcanically as the Pacific Plate passed over the Hawaii hotspot. It consists of eroded shielded volcano with a 9.3 to 12.4 mile diameter summit calandria and 2 flanking caldeiras. The volcano 1.40 million years ago left lava flows and cones over the eastern 2/3 of the island. Zook the Crook. And this is some pictures of it, okay? Really nice. Nice. Yeah. Kauai's highest peak is Kwaniki. The second highest mount's Walilala, near the center of the 5,1400 foot above the sea level, the wettest spot on Earth with an annual average rainfall of 460 to 38.3 feet, is on the east side of Mount Wahili. The rain has eroded deep valleys in the central mountains, craving out the canyons with many sink waterfalls. Sarah, I'll look for the letter, okay, and we'll read it. On the west side of the island, Waimea town is mouth of Waimea River, whose flow formed in the canyon, one of the world's most scenic canyons, which is part of the Waimea Canyon State Park. At 3,000 feet, this canyon is often called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. Kokio Point lies in the island's south side. Na Pali Coast is an isolated center of recreation, including kayaking along the beaches and hiking on the trail along the coastal cliffs. The headlands of Kamala Point, Kauai, and the southeast point in the south. The climate is tropical with generally humid and stable conditions year-round, although infrequent storms causing severe flooding. At the lower elevations, the annual precipitation varies from average about 50 to 130 centimeters to the windward shores less than 20 inches. Leeward side of the island, the average temperature of Lihu County set ranges from 28 degrees Fahrenheit in February to 85 degrees in August and September. Low cholesterol if you don't fry them, but fried is so tasty. I agree. Also there's pork skins. Pork rinds are good. Speaking of chicken skins, fried chicken skins. I've not heard of that. That's interesting. Also, there's pork rinds are good. Not maybe the most healthy thing, but it's good. After I talk about this, we'll go to RFK news. This will touch. We'll talk about this. I'll kind of go back and forth. Kauai's mountainous regions offer cooler temperatures in contrast to the warm coastal areas. Kauai State Park, 4,200 feet. The day temperature vary average from 45 degrees Fahrenheit in January to 68 degrees in July. I didn't know that. That's really cool. The mountains are cool, man. It's cold in the mountains. In the winter, temperatures have been known to drop down to 30s and 40s in the park, which holds unofficial record low of 29 degrees Fahrenheit recorded in February. It's so weird, Hawaii being cold. Yeah, fact stranded. Participate Precipitation in Kauai's mountainous regions average 500 to 100 annually, about 10 southeast of Kauai State Park, at an elevation of 5,175 feet, is the mountain Wai rain gauge spot of the earth along the one of the wettest spots on the earth. And it's been disputed. Record hourly precipitation during the storm on January 24, 1956, a rain gauge The sugar plantation recorded 12 to 305 meters of participation in just 60 minutes. Facts, Stranded. That's cool. The time zone, Kauai's time zone is year round. Mainland states are daylight saving times, for example. The time on Kauai is 3 hours behind the west coast of the United States and 6 hours behind the east coast. Waterfall. Very nice. Very nice. Some more pictures of it. That's the beach. That looks like Thailand temples. Really interesting. That's some of the water. Imagine living there 500 years ago. That was your shower. Yeah, I know. I know. With the waterfall, I know. Quite a quite a shower, and you don't have to have the pipes and the people saying the water needs to be boiled and all this other stuff. You don't have to pay for it. It's just free from nature. Yeah, very nice island. As I said, it's a nice jungle, and I believe Jurassic Park was filmed there. Oh, those are some. That's another. That's like a bird's eye view of the waterfall. Okay. 70 Hollywood movies and TV shows, including the musical South Pacific and Disney's 2002 animated feature Lilo and Stitch. I didn't know that. Wow, synchronicity. With its French, Cynthia, you see her chat sometimes. Cynthia Schmidt, she loves Lilo and Stitch, and the Lilo and Stitch movies were filmed there. And Leroy and Stitch, first television series of Lilo and Stitch, and also the 93 film Jurassic Park and the sequel in 2015 Jurassic World. Mighty Joe Young, Mike Dave Needing a Wedding Dates 2016. Raiders Lost Ark, 6 Days, 7 Nights, and King Kong 1976, John Ford's 1963, Donovan Reef, Tropical Thunder, Bethany Hamilton's Soul Surfer, opening of MASH, the TV show, Just Go With It, George Jungle, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, Perfect Gateway. So a lot of movies were filmed there. And okay. Now what we'll do, we're going to go to this RFK thing. And that's the info on the island. Okay. All right, we're going to read about the RFK situation. RFK suspends his presidential bid and backs DGT before appearing with him at his rally. Yes, they're a famous island. And I'm going to go back to it and talk about the energy there, but we're going to take a little detour here. RFK suspends his independent campaign for the White House and endorsed DGT on Friday, a late-stage shakeup of the race that could give the former president a modest boost from Kennedy's supporters. Hours later, Kennedy joined Mr. T on stage at an Arizona rally where the crowd burst into Bobby cheers. Kennedy said his internal polls had shown that his presence in the race would hurt Trump and help the Democratic nominee Kamala Harris, though recent public polls don't provide a clear indication that he is having an outsized impact on support from either major candidate. Kennedy cited free speech, the war in Ukraine, and a war on our children amongst the reasons he would try to remove his name from the ballot in battleground states. Quote, "These are the principal causes and persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as independent, and now to throw my support for DGT. DJT." Kennedy said in his event in Phoenix. Now, basically, with, like, for instance, with me, like, I agree with him, and I registered, like, I was the independent, then I switched over to the elephants, and yeah, because it's just the we have a two-party system, and it seems like that's how things go here. But I like oranges. You know, shout out to the orange. And I think this is a very interesting twist. Very interesting twist that we see here. Because like a lot of people didn't see us coming. Like Kamala dropping, Biden dropping out and giving it to Kamala was not expected by some, and this also was another surprising move. However, he made clear that he wasn't formally ending his bid and said his supporters could continue to back him in the majority of states where they are unlikely to sway the outcome. Kennedy took steps to withdraw his candidacy in at least two states late this week, Arizona and Pennsylvania, but Election officials in the battlegrounds of Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin said it would be too late for him to take his name off the ballot, even if he wants to do so. I'm seeing a headline: Iran hackers targeted WhatsApp accounts of staffers in Biden Orange Man administration's, Meta says. Kennedy said his actions follow conversations with the Orange Man over the past few weeks. He cast their alliance as a unity party, an agreement that would allow us to disagree publicly and privately and seriously. Kennedy suggested the Orange Man offered him a job if he returns to the White House, but neither he nor Orange Man offered details. Kennedy's running mate, Nicole Shanahan, this week entered the idea that Kennedy could join Orange Man's administration as Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. I know Stranded. I know. Yeah, he was. They booted him. Yeah. The announcement ended days of speculation and landed with heaps of confusion and contradictions from Kennedy's aides and allies and emblematic cap for a quixotic campaign. Shortly before his speech in Phoenix, his campaign had said in a Pennsylvania court filing that he would be endorsing Orange Man for president. However, a spokesperson for the Kennedy said that the court filing had been made in error, and the lawyer who wrote said he'd correct it. Kennedy took the stage moments later and aired his grievance with the Democratic Party, the news media, and political institutions, and exalted Orange Man. He spoke for nearly 20 minutes before he said explicitly that he was endorsing the Orange Man. Kennedy later joined Orange Man on stage at a rally hosted by Turning Point Action Glendale, where Orange Man's campaign had teased he would be joined by a special guest. You know, because the Democrat Party, it wasn't like this back in the day. It wasn't like this. And, you know, like, I come up from a family on my mom's side that were like JFK Democrats. And I can't speak for all my relatives, but I will say that I think it's not like what it was before. They just went and shut the front door. It's hard for us to comprehend and abhor the nonsense that's being spewed in the wheel of the spewel of nonsense. Thank you for pointing that out, Stranded, that he's not completely out the race. He just suspended it. But yeah, cause it's like I'm saying, it's like JFK and those type of people in that, or anybody, either side, okay, Democrat or Republican, both sides were not like this. The way we see things now, okay, they weren't like neither side was like that. Both sides were Christian, patriots, even back in the past. But things are, a little bit different now. Kennedy was greeted by thundering applause as he took the stage of Foo Fighters in pyrotechnics display after being introduced by Trump as a man who has been an incredible champion for so many these values we all share. Yes, Stranded, I agree with that. In fact, Stranded, yes. And there's a lot of friends and people I know that They don't like the Orange Man because the way he acts and his personality, but I think his policies are, it's the policies people should be focusing on. And the foreign wars and stuff that are going on. I mean, love him or hate him, there was 4 years of no war, and it seemed like things weren't as expensive as they are now. It seems like that happens. I mean, when this other group gets in. Yeah, DJ, we have to wait and see. He got in the CIA. He's got a he has a swamp to drain. He has a because they in my opinion, I think that he would do very good at that. And allegedly, it seems that maybe there's some shadow groups of people, shadow parts of that organization that may have done something to some of his family members. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that will go. With Kennedy standing nearby Orange Man invoked his slain uncle and father, John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy, saying that he knows that they are looking down right now and they are very proud. That was very sweet of the Orange Man to say that. Right, 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 exactly. I saw the Orange Man in some movies and stuff, and I saw him in The Apprentice. I thought he was pretty cool, but I could see where people might not like certain things he does. But with the business stuff he did and all, and all the people, another thing people had taken into consideration when he was starting out with the primaries in 2016. I was watching the reruns of it because in 2016 I didn't watch them. I was into the 2012 stuff, and I was actually kind of different back then. But the I was watching the 2012 stuff, but not the 2016 stuff. And in his defense, okay, he was constantly being attacked by like countless candidates constantly. So he got into like a fight mode, and he just kind of he kept in that state because he's constantly being attacked by everybody. So I don't think that would help if he had something with his personality. I don't think it helped. Also, he's older. Also, he just like why I think he seems kind of not kind of agitated, and rightfully so. But I do agree, Stranded, absolutely. You know, and his policies are the thing that people need to focus on. Because sometimes I was talking to somebody that said it's about the way they present themselves and the smile on their face. I'm like, honey, the devil could have a smile on his face and look nice too. I mean, it doesn't. That's not good. The wolf in sheep's clothing, as the scripture says. You know them by their fruits. No pun intended. The orange is known by their oranges. All right. And he repeated his pledge to establish a panel working with Bobby to investigate the increase in chronic health conditions and childhood disease, including autoimmune disorders, autism, and obesity and infertility. A year ago, some would have thought it inconvenienceable that a member of arguably the most storied family in the Democratic politics would work with Orange Man to keep Democrat out of the White House. Even in recent months, Kennedy has accused Orange Man of betraying his followers, while Orange Man has criticized Kennedy as the most radical left candidate in the race. But they just say stuff like that because, as I said, that they're attacking each other. That's what they do. And also, I remember, like, even like in recent times, in like the recent time periods, they, like RFK made a tweet that, they did stuff for civil rights, the Democrats, and like in the, of course not back in the past, but in like more recent times, like in the JFK type group, like the civil rights and different things like that, and they did things to be for the blacks and be for the, all Americans. And but it's going in some other direction, and it's kind of like, in my opinion, going backwards to the 1800s, in my opinion, to other things. It's going backwards, I think, and it's going also to parts of like the very like socialistic type ideas too. Like it went into some other direction. It ate some mushrooms, and it took some acid, and it's not the same as it was. It's, during the JFK type time period, like Martin Luther King and what he did and stuff like that, and other civil rights activists. It's not like things are going kind of sideways, in my opinion. Stranded, I totally agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, 100%. That's why people don't like him. Like, so, some of my friends, you'll see, not like y'all know each other, other people I knew from other channels, yeah, they don't like his personality. People that I'm related to don't like his personality. And Shrant says he knows how to speak to the average person, but at the same time, he has the huge ego that turns some people off. Right, right, exactly. And I was talking to some of them, and that some people, and yeah, they just didn't like the way he presented himself. I get what he's doing, but yeah. And like in 20, now as I said, I saw him in different movies and things, and I was, although I was born in '98, so I'm not like some of you. I'd say everyone here is was born before I was, but I still saw reruns and stuff. He was in ads. He was very well liked and respected everywhere, and I always thought he was cool. But in 2016, I just didn't know. I didn't vote for anybody. If I would have watched the debates and would have kept up with it more, because I was my senior year. I was doing some stuff with family, with like my other family overseas. I was trying to get in touch with my father's family because I wasn't in touch with them. So I was kind of having my own thing going on, but I didn't register the vote actually until the 2021. Yeah, so, but basically, and as I said, I liked what the policies, the policies are good. And also, I think as I said, I understand why he may feel the way he feels and the way things go down, but I could see how that would turn people off at the same time, as Stranded said. I know, Stranded, and a lot of people think with their emotions. A lot of people are emotional, and they these days, and now a lot of, if I may say, a lot of men are emotional too, and you just have a society that's falling apart. But yeah, a lot of people have hurt feelings. It's like a lizard cryptid can go and support, run for president, and that's not really a trustworthy thing to vote for, because a lizard cryptid is probably some demonic creature or some hybrid from the fallen angels that survived all these years. But people would vote for that because their emotions. The forbidden fruit from Adam and Eve, that was because of people are in their emotions. They're in their feelings. And I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. We all make errors. We all do flaws. Okay? But basically, the situation, though, is that people got to focus on policy. And there is speeches that he makes that he sounds really cool, and he has inspirational speeches. Not every single thing, in my opinion, that he said may turn people off. But I will also say the media, I think, focuses on certain things in the propaganda. So it really is a long rabbit hole to go down. And I totally agree with you, Shane. It hit the nail on the head perfectly. People got to they got to focus on the policies. When I tell people that I like the Orange Man's policies, there's foreign wars all over the place. There's inflation going up. there's, and look, nothing against people from Mexico that are good workers that work hard. I know people from YouTube and from school and stuff that are good hard workers from South America and Mexico. Nothing, no, we're not against those people, or at least I'm not. That's not the problem. It's just people from other parts of the world, from Timbuktu, that could be from God knows what. You could have a problem there, and also any drugs and things like that could be a problem as well. So, right. That is so you got to look at things from these different angles, as I said. Mainly, not even the main thing that I would say to focus on is the economy. It's the inflation. It's our country being mocked every day. It's nothing to do with this or that. The policies, it seems, that's what I go by, and people understand that. And, like, you say, like, well, everything's getting expensive now. That's all you got to say, really. No one could dispute that. Why is that? You got to, like, think, like that, in my opinion. Stranded said, being corporate tycoon, he's had to be tough, and he doesn't know how to dial it back. Right. Right. Thank you, Stranded. And my family, they were in business and stuff, and it can be a rough place to be in. I mean, I have to say, being a YouTuber and all the live streams that I go to, you got to be fired up. You got to be, it's a rough thing. And also the great, prodigious task that Orange Man has done his entire life, and his father also did. Yeah, being a corporate tycoon, he's had to be tough, and he doesn't know how to dial it back. Yep. Yeah. And I will also add, with all the political attacks on him by the media and by the candidates, especially during the primaries, everybody was attacking him. That made it even worse, in my opinion. But, like, why, people like Piers Morgan said that he's talked to him and he seemed pretty cool. And I've seen videos and I've seen a lot of things from Orange Man, and there's times where even in modern times that he's just chilling. But yeah, and Shane, very good point, very very excellent points. I'm very enjoying this conversation. Quote. Oh, I've read that already. In a statement, Harris campaign chair Jen O'Malley reached out to Kennedy supporters who are tired of the Orange Man and looking for a new way forward. And Harris wanted to earn their backing. At Kennedy's Phoenix event, 38-year-old Casey Wisterman said she trusted Kennedy's judgment and had planned to vote for him, but would support the Orange Man if Kennedy endorsed him. Quote, my decision would really be based on who he thinks is best suited to run this country, said Westerman, who wore a Kennedy 2024 trucker hat and voted for Orange Man in the last two presidential elections. Kennedy first entered the 2024 presidential race as the... I didn't know this. Kennedy first entered the 2024 presidential race as a Democrat, but left the party last fall to run as independent. He built an unusually strong base for a third-party bid, fueled in part by anti-establishment voters and vaccine... Be careful here. Skeptics who had followed his anti-V work since the C-word pandemic. But he has since faced strained campaign finances and mounting legal charges. Strand said, I'll take his huge ego if it means a secure border, low interest rates, and strong military and better economy. Yep. Exactly. At Trump's event in Las Vegas, Alida Roberts, 49, said Kennedy's endorsement of Trump spoke volumes about the current state of the Democratic Party. Quote, it says that he doesn't trust what's going on. That is it, not the party he grew up in, Roberts said. Roberts, who voted twice for Orange Man, said he was relieved and excited by the endorsement because she's been teeter-tottering between the two candidates. Recent polls put Kennedy's support in a mid-single digits and unclear if he'd even get that in the general election. There's some evidence that Kennedy's staying in the race would hurt Orange Man more than Harris. According to July AP NORC poll, Republicans are significantly more likely than Democrats to have favorable view of Kennedy, and those with a positive impression of Kennedy were significantly more likely to as also have favorable view of Trump 52% than Harris 37%. I saw an interview, and I believe it was Cuomo. He was telling RFK that he has to, to tell the Democrats that, he has seniority in the party and that he should get it. But he did not want to go back to that party. He was disgusted by the party. He didn't want to do it. I don't even know if they would accept him. But I was seeing something that, if everything was the way it was supposed to be, RFK would have been the Democrat nominee right now against the Orange Man. If the Democrats were how they were back in the day, RFK would be the nomination, but it's not the way it used to be. Associated Press writers Jill Colvin and Ali Swinson in New York, Rio, Las Vegas. There's just a couple of credits to the people. All right. So that is the news about RFK. Let's see this RFK letter. Five Kennedy members call RFK's Orange Man endorsement a betrayal. I totally disagree with that, okay? Totally disagree with that. I am from that line of Democrats from that group, and I switched to the other side, but I think that I like the Orange Man's policies. He's not betraying anything. The Democrat Party betrayed everything. No, RFK didn't betray anybody. I did that before he did. Stranded, I totally agree. I agree. Let's see how this goes. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to tell some people I'm related to. That, and some other people, that if JFK would be around today, he would be in the Republican side. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, Kennedy's family members endorse the the, the current Democrat side. They were endorsing Biden, and then now they're going to be endorsing Kamala, obviously. By today's standards, Uncle JFK would be Republican. His uncle JFK would be Republican. Yep. Members of the Kennedy family are denouncing 2024 presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s decision Monday to abandon his Democratic campaign and instead run independent candidate. Quote, the decision of our brother Bobby to run as a third party candidate against Joe Brandon is dangerous to our country. Read statement signed for our Kennedy siblings, former Maryland Gov. Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, Democrat, former Rep. Johnny Kennedy II, Rory Kennedy, etc. Quote, Bobby might share the same name as our father, but he does not share same values, vision, judgment. Today's announcement is deeply saddening for us. We denounce his candidacy and believe to be perilous for our country. The statement concluded. But as I said, if these people would understand the policies as we're staring at and I are talking about, you would see that things are different now than they were before. RFK Jr. announced Monday that his decision to abandon his Democrat challenge for president in the general election. A recent poll showed in a hypothetical three-way race between Biden, the Orange Man, and Kennedy, he would get 14% of the vote. Biden would get 31% of the vote, and the Orange Man would get 33% of the vote. In a hypothetical two-way between Brandon and Orange Man, 35% would go to each candidate. Another 11% would support some other candidate, according to the same poll. Kennedy's campaign has focused much on of his criticism of the wealth disparity of the country and advocating for livable wages and a system that works for the poor. He also, however, has emerged as prominent skeptic of the V word and has at times come under fire for anti-Semitic comments, which I don't know of him being anti-Semitic, but, take that with a grain of salt. Much of his family has challenged him publicly to the past, has made clear that they do not support his candidacy. Same thing with some people I'm related to. They're triggered at me about things that I think. It's the same thing like with RFK. You have to relate to people that are like that. And yeah, I have the same thing that to do with that RFK has to do with, and people are just emotional. You can show them straight. You can show people a video of what the current politicians say of the current policies. You could show them that in their face, and they still just are set in their ways about it. You can show these people, and it's like for a second they'll start to wake up, then they just kind of regress back. It's kind of like when the connection is bad and it goes up, then it just kind of goes back down. It's kind of like that. They're doing something like that. So Sarah, that's some information about RFK's family not liking him. They really have some beef with him. And this is about Kauai's island. It is not for profit electric unity cooperative headquarters Luli, which provides electricity for the island and has 24,000 member owners who elect a 9-member board of directors. Fact stranded. In 1970s, Kauai burned sugarcane waste to supply most of its electricity. By 2008, transition of energy sources and growth and generating capacity had occurred, with most of Kauai's electricity produced by imported liquid petroleum. In 2006 and 2007, the inputs cost $69.3 million and $83 million respectively. By 2011, 92% of the KICU's power came from diesel. By 2017, KIUC's fuel mix was 56% fuel fossil, 9% hydroelectric, 12% biomass, and 23% solar. KIUC integrated large-scale solar into its grid so that during the sunny daylight hours, 97% or more of the generation came from the renewable source. KIUC offers a $1,000 rebate for residential customers who have solar water heating systems installed in their homes. In 2017, KIUC opened Tesla Energy 13 MW 52 MWH battery next to the 12 W Kapaya solar planet 13.9 for 13.9 kWh. December 2018, the town's community opened the distributed energy project for 20 MW solar with 20 MW 100 MWH batteries priced at 11 WH. Stranded said, "It's that mentality of it's the way my daddy and my granddaddy voted. They won't change, but complain that nothing changes." Yep, exactly, Stranded. That's what the thing is going on. Because it's like my ancestors voted a certain way. My ancestors. Talk about like all these. Of course. Yeah, okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that, down here, and other places, the Democrat Party was around, and my ancestors voted that, and my ancestors, a lot of them were immigrants from Europe, and they came down here, and some of them were here, and actually some relatives on my grandpa's side were from Missouri, were from the northern part. Yeah, and my dad's family is just people from England. They had their own parties. Yeah, but my ancestors, they voted Democrat, and they got set in their ways about it. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. But when you look at the policies and stuff, it's not what it was before. So Stranded is absolutely right about that. It's like how this and that and all these people voted. Right. In 2017, yeah, I read that. All right, okay. Laiui, on the islands and southeastern coast of the seat of Kauai County. The island's second largest town is Kappa on the Coconut Coast. I like that. It was a site of an old coconut plantation. Has population over 10,000 people, or about 50% greater than the Liu's on the island of North Side. Was once a capital of Kauai. Communities on the Kauai range in population from roughly 10,000 people in Kappa to tiny helmets below are the larger or more notable of those from the northmost Hawaii Route 560 and the western Terminus, Hawaii Route 50. And I was not a happy camper completely about the parting ways with the Democrats. But I understand just it wasn't like what it was. And as I said, it's like, I'm not like anti-American. I want a good economy and a good country. And I feel sometimes there's the Democrats will they'll do this like division with race and things like that. And I think it's good to put that behind us and move forward and not be like, because talking about things that happened, a long time ago. So I think that it's to have more unity rather than the division, in my opinion. Because, we got like the civil rights and stuff happened and all things like that, and that's good. But, I just think that they just go on all kinds of tangents on things that they're only hurting the cause of unity for the country. They're only causing more division, in my opinion. And like I tell my friends that are black about how, because I show them what these people think and about the policies, and they go, oh, they see what I mean, because it's like I'm like them. We both are Democrat. I was at one point, and then because they could see that I'm from like I could see their perspective because of the same, although I'm white, same party, and that I have the same values as they do, and they could see that something is not completely right here when we look at the fine print. And I think the media is good at causing distractions and twisting things around. But as I said, like what Strand and I are saying, look at the fine print and look at what the policies are and what the candidate supports. Because putting the cart before the horse, like because they'll say, "Do you like the orange man?" And it's like, now wait a minute, I like the policies. We all can agree we want a good, strong Christian nation, and we don't want a bunch of wars happening. But people could practice whatever religion they want. That's great. But it's important for people to see that this other group of people is actually causing a downward spiral and things to go downhill, in my opinion. Everybody wants cheaper groceries. Everybody wants to get along, and everybody wants to live their lives in peace. And, unity is strength, and we all are from different colors and creeds, and we all are Americans, and that's what we all need to be focused on. And as I told Gam yesterday, that the brief moment that we had in the call before it kind of got a little bit choppy is that, and it was recorded, so the chat was able to hear it for a moment, is that we're talking about the Twilight Zone, how they got these aliens and they turned the people against each other. And by flickering some lights, and they got paranoid and start fighting each other, and the whole neighborhood was fighting each other. The aliens were just watching. So we might be different colors, we might be from different walks of life and stuff, but hey, at the end of the day, we're all Americans, and we all can't just be fighting each other over these things. And if somebody is being mistreated, or a group is being mistreated, or injustice in this day and age, that's not good. We all should be treated equally. But as I said, we got to focus on fixing the issues in this country and just getting along together. Like the 80s and 90s, people seemed like they got along better than they do now. And we need to go back to how it was back at that time desperately. because we're going back in a time machine to a bad time period, and we don't need to go back there. We need to. They always talk about moving forward. We need to go forward. You know, that's what we got to do. All right, Sarah says, career politicians gaining crazy wealth that enabling needs to stop. Amen. All that money they're getting, you know, wheelbarrows of money. Wheelbarrows of money. They don't even care about the causes they support. They just turn the people against each other and don't want them to have peace. That's what they're trying to do. And they're everywhere. Exactly, Stranded. We got some facts tonight. We always say facts here, but we got some facts tonight. And Sarah, I'm going to post your comment next. And in spite of this late stream, we have very good content going on here. In spite of the very ridiculously late stream, but I love doing late night streams, but also we'll do other ones too. But as I said, I really appreciate this. And so Stranded is saying, right, Dems too busy yelling about stuff that happened in the past, but can't focus on what's happening right now. Exactly. You know, there's abortion issues, there's all kinds of things people could be talking about. They're happening right now. And I think that, you know, because Trump was saying that he was not for abolishing what they're trying to abolish, they kept on making lies during the primary because it wasn't what they were saying. He believes in certain situations, like if a woman was raped or incest and stuff like that, and he'll leave it up to the states. Like, you know, basically, you have the issues with states versus national government, and I think the states' rights are very important, and I think it's good, his approach to that, to try to bring both sides to a united position. And also, the media just, I don't really understand if it's money, they don't like the country, or you know, if they were conditioned with these certain ideologies. And I've looked into the ideologies before. I've seen, you know, fascism and communism, and by the grace of God, I'm not in those ideologies. But basically, when people get into these utopian ideologies, they to achieve the utopian world, you have to do these horrible, horrible things and be really ruthless about creating the utopia. And also their own greed, their own wealth. So they're going to do all kinds of things to create that, if it's for themselves or for the greater good of people. You know, Lenin said you have to delete 9/10 of a population for communism to be put there. They'll do it. I mean, that's millions and millions of people. I mean, and look what the Austrian painter did for his utopian vision. So many people had to leave their country and their countries, and many German people that were fighting a war or were protesting against him, that supported him or didn't support him, were all negatively affected by what happened. And it's as Jesus said, many false prophets would arise, and there would be these ideologies that would turn people away that were from the devil. So we see that now in our modern time. We have greed and people that may have wanting to do the right thing, but they've been twisted. And I think we could see a lot of this in this gray area. Exactly, Stranded. The utopia doesn't exist, and it never will. And also, Stranded said, right, Orange Man said he'll follow SCOTUS ruling and leave it to the state. Exactly. And also, one thing that I'll say, I'll give credit for, is I like the time. One thing I'll say about the presidents that I would love to see more of the Democrat and Republican presidents getting along. I would love to see that. I would love to see unity between the two different groups. Like if, you know, Big O, Obama did something that was good or something like that, that would be good to see unity between the two different groups. Or if he did something that contributed to the country, or if, say, like the Orange Man contributed something, or this group contributed something, it would be good for them to work together. And one thing that I do like to see was that basically the situation where they got rid of the terrorists over in the Middle East, and like they got like Bill Clinton trying to get Osama, and then the Big O got Osama officially, and then he was dealing with ISIS. And although there's dispute, they'll fight about who started ISIS because they'll say that they were kind of giving them the weapons and stuff. You keep that in mind. But then then Orange Man got in and completely got rid of the ISIS completely. So there's times where these like the president will hand on the torch to the other guy, and then they'll continue to help the country. I would like to see more presidents carry on the legacy of helping and continuing the legacy of the last president, and see like Orange Man is going to continue something what the other one did with leaving it up to the state. And I wish they would get along. There's differences, but I would like to see people get along more. And Stranded was saying that Obama started the new division. And it does exactly. And it would have been nice if it would have been different, Stranded. That's what I'm saying. If it would have been different, and it wasn't like that, But it is what it is, and I would hope that it could change. But yeah, absolutely, Stranded. Right. And this is just at the nice beach, nice sand. All right, and we will still be talking about this, but I want to show Sarah something. Yesterday, Sarah, we were talking about hockey, and Gam's team was the Flyers. And Sarah, I would like to know, what was the team that you would see? And Stranded, do you ever watch hockey? Did you ever watch hockey? I'm curious. But Sarah, what was the team that y'all watched? I'm curious to know. Legion of Doom and ice hockey. The Legion of Doom was a forward line for the Philadelphia Flyers who played together between 95 and 97, comprising of Eric Lindros, left winger, Leclaire, and Redberg. They were given this name not only for their offensive play, but also their ability to dominate the games physically. Each of the three set foot to a taller and weighed up to 230 pounds. The name was coined by journeyman Flyers center Montgomery, popularized by Flyers anchor Gene. Sarah, I agree. So Sarah, if you didn't hear, what was okay? She did hear. It was a delay. Newark Rangers. New York Rangers. You did watch. Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm glad that you for letting me know, and we'll look up that one. Okay. And Stranded said the people supporting my choice don't want government making the decisions. Don't understand. Handing it over to the federal will in fact mean the government will make the decision. Okay, Sarah. Okay. Keeping it in the state gives. Okay, Strand doesn't watch hockey. Okay. People to vote for the side. Right. So this was a group of people in the Flyers, and they did very good with their games, but some of the games they did lose, and they stick together more. But eventually, they did break up. In 1992 to 93, the seasons Mark, Richie, and Brent had formed the productive Crazy Eights line. Renberg split his time playing left wing with Lindros and right wing with Rod. Despite a strong start to 93 to 94 season, the emergent talents such as Lindros and Renberg, the Flyers fell apart in the second half of the year and narrowly missed the playoffs, the fifth consecutive time that the club didn't reach postseason. This led to firing the head coach Terry Simpson and general manager Russ Farewell. They were succeeded by Terry Murray and Bobby Clark, respectively. Now, down here, there is an ice hockey teams, but they all failed. But they have a new one now in Baton Rouge. So they in 2023 they started. Formation: the line was formed, clock shortened, 94-95 season, with when the Montreal Canadiens traded John and Eric and Gilbert to the Flyers in exchange for Mark. Renberg was moved from Rod left wing and placed on Lindros right wing. Murray then placed Leclaire as the left wing from the trio. Leclaire was expected to use his physical prowess to make room for the Lindros and went on to exceed all expectations as Leclaire scoring totals jumped dramatically compared with his time with the Canadiens. The line registered its first point on Saturday, February 11, 1995, in a game against the New Jersey Devils at Meadowlands Sports Complex. The line made an immediate impact as it helped the Flyers defeat the Devils 3-1. Before the formation line, the Flyers had struggled out to gate, going only 3-7-1 through their first 11 games while being outscored 34-22. However, in their final 37 games, including the one at February 11, the Flyers won 25-9-3, outscored their opponents. So, Gam was saying that this group was, really good. Now, the one that, you know, I think that the ice hockey is very cool. One of my friends likes the Nashville Predators a lot, and so yeah, I think that very interesting sport. And as I said, it just wasn't really a big thing down here, but hopefully they could come, back up with that. And Shannon, do you? I'm just curious. Do you watch any sports at all? I not in recent times. I haven't watched sports recently, but I have, been interested in different parts of my life. I'm not too sure if it's something you're into. Okay. Some new info about it. Sarah says Japan has ice hockey, but not popular like the States. Baseball, number one than soccer. I like baseball and soccer. In school, I was going to play baseball, but what happened was I got into I got into some business venture thing, and I wanted to spend a lot of time with my girlfriend at the time. So I didn't do the baseball during my senior year, but I almost did. And so that's why I didn't play baseball. But as I said, it's a very good sport, and I would have liked to have played it if I played it a couple years earlier. But football, I'm very good at football, and I'm very good at throwing a football and doing rushing and all. I'm very good with athletic. Because with football, I didn't want to break any bones because if I'm in some real situation where I need to run or do something and I'm incapacitated over a game, I just didn't think that was the wisest thing to do. And my family is very protective of me also. So you have those different factors. But basically, I do like, the sports. Soccer, I did play soccer. Yes. And my dad likes soccer. Actually, I got a soccer trophy. Anyway, so I'm not into sports that much. I've watched football games and baseball. That's nice, Stranded. Sarah says, been years since seen hockey game. Use a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, so Sarah, this is a new update about the Flyers, and that's a new picture of it. And what my friend, you've seen the chat sometimes, DeLeon detailing, he loves the Nashville Predators. Okay, Stranded. Good night. Go Orange. Have a great weekend. And next Friday, if you're able to come whenever you come again, I would like to do a call for you to call into the show again the next time you're on here. Okay. But you have a good night and have a great weekend. This time I didn't do any calls. I just was doing this. And also, I'll read a little bit about this. And Sarah, I'm going to just talk to you. We'll talk about some hockey. Okay? That's what we're going to do right now, Sarah. Ryan Johansson, agent, has put out a statement confirming that a grievance will be filed against the Philadelphia Flyers after the organization placed Johnson on unconditional waivers for the purpose of terminating his contract Johnson was traded to the Flyers from Colorado Avalanche back in March, but has not played a single game for Philadelphia, claiming to be suffering from a serious hip injury. Okay, Sarah. Okay. So that was the situation going on with that one. And yeah, so this is some pictures from the recent with the New York Rangers. All right. And as I said, I'll be, ending it soon. There's not really much more to the stream. But yeah, so basically you have that, and I'll briefly read this. Oh, interesting, Sarah. Interesting. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. New York Rangers are a professional ice hockey team based in New York City. The Rangers compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Metropolitan Division in Eastern Conference. The team plays its home game as Madison Square Garden, an arena they share with the New York Knicks, a National Basketball Association. They are one of the 3 NHL franchises located in the New York metropolitan area. The others being New Jersey Devils and New York Islanders. Thank you, Sarah. I'm glad that you appreciate the streams, and I'm glad that for the moment that you're here, we're briefly talking about hockey. Because it's something I'm glad that you're here for. I'm glad that you're here for the toilet ghost. Founded in 1926 by Tex Rickard, the Rangers are one of the original 6 teams that competed in NHL before its 1967 expansion, along with the Boston Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, the Detroit Red Wings, Montreal Canadiens, and Toronto Maple Leafs. The team attended success early until the guidance of Lester, who coached the team and saved it for you. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Who coached the team containing Frank Boucher, Murray, and Bunn and Bill Cook to win the Stanley in only their second season. They were the first NHL franchise in the United States to win the trophy area and fastest expansion of the team in NHL. Do so, team won 2 or more Stanley Cups. And that's what they wear. That's some info about it. And years it started was 1926, 1967. That's the president of the team. And that's them playing, a long time ago. By the way, I'll show the let's see, playing. Yeah, so that's them playing. And that's the ice hockey, where they'll play in action. And, it's very interesting to see these different games and stuff. So, yeah, I'd recommend watching it. It's pretty good. And what my friend likes is the Predators. Yes, the stadiums back then would be heard by today would be hazard by today's standards. Yeah, that's the Nashville Predators, and he loves wearing the Nashville merch. And Sarah, I'm also, you know, and DeLeon isn't here, and he would have liked to have heard this. So, but I will also talk about the hockey and other streams too, just to give you a heads up, and other sports as well. All right. And as I said, Sarah said it was great, the yelling and excitement. Sarah, what snacks did y'all eat? Did y'all like get soda, popcorn, or peanuts? Like, what did they have there to eat? Okay, okay, Sarah. And you could go whenever you need to leave. It's okay. And I'll just read some of this. And not as I said, there's not much of the stream left, but this is just the little part we'll be talking about. So you ate pretzels. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that you had the pretzels. The team's early success, led by the players, became minor celebrities in the fixtures of the New York City's Roaring Twenties nightlife. It was during this time, playing the Garden on the 94th Street, blocks away from Times Square, that Rangers obtained their nickname, the Broadway Blue Shirts. On December 13, 1929, the Rangers became the first team in NHL to travel by plane when they hired Curtiss Wright Corporation to fly them from Toronto for the game against the Maple Leafs, which they lost 7-6. Big pretzels and sometimes hot dogs. That's really good. You and your dad had to have had a lot of fun together doing that. In the only Rangers' second season, they won 1928 Stanley Cup, defeating the Montreal Maroons 3 games to one of the most memorable stories that emerged from the finals involved Patrick playing the goal, age 44 at the time. Teams not required to dress a backup goaltender. When the Rangers started goaltender, Lauren left the game with an eye injury. Head coach Eddie vetoed Patrick's original choice for an emergency replacement, who was in attendance. An angry Patrick lined up between the pipes for the periods of in Game 2 of the finals, allowing the goal Maroons center Stuart Butcher scored the game, winning a goal in overtime in New York. One thing I love about being on YouTube is all the different people I met from everywhere that had all these different experiences. That's really cool. You know, it's like traveling around without leaving my house. After the loss in Bruins in 1929 Stanley Cup Finals, an early struggle in early 1930s, the Rangers, led by brothers Bill and Bun Cook on the right and the left wings, respectively, and Frank Butcher center, defeated the Maple Leafs in 1933 best of 5 finals, 3 games to 1, win their second Stanley Cup. The Rangers spent the rest of the 30s playing close 0.50s hockey until their next cup win. Lester stepped down as head coach, was replaced by Frank Butcher. All right. And also do this thing right here where, okay, I didn't even realize I wasn't here. There I am. In their 1939 season, Rangers finished the regular season in second place behind Boston. Two teams then met first the playoffs. Bruins gained 2 games to 1 series, then led to New York, but the Rangers recovered 3 straight games, defeating the first place Bruins for the 2 games. Ousted the Chicago Blackhawks the 2 games to none. They did pretty good. All right. Okay, and Sarah, right now I'm going to be ending the stream now, and you go do whatever you're going to do, and we'll pick up on the hockey on the next one that you're, on one of the late night ones with you here. And yeah, memories. I'm sure I've brought the nostalgia levels to climax with this stream. And yeah, see you next week, Sarah. And thank you all for watching and listening, and those seeing the rerun. Thank you for making it this far. And she says, "Thank you, Captain Hansel. Take care." I'm going to pin that because that is, I love that. Thank you. And hope that you and your husband have a great rest of the, I believe it's the evening time over there. I'm not quite sure. And so, or afternoon, whatever it is over there. All right. And see y'all later. Peace.